Hey, what's up, guys? It's Damnation-n-Hellfire here, and we're here to talk about some fucking battle pirates. And with me, I got Cuttlefish,
Hello, everyone.
and I got Ross Crow. Oh, and there my YouTube's just
Good
came.
evening, everyone.
So, everybody's enjoying this update, right? It's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Indeed.
Well, there is a lot to go through.
There is a lot to go through. I guess the biggest breaking news right at the moment is that half repair time got extended for an extra day, so that should make everybody happy. Well,
Right.
as happy as you can be under the current circumstances.
And that half repair is very, very welcome.
Yes, that's a good thing. That's about all I had to say. All right, show's over. See you later. No, I'm kidding. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. So obviously we're in the 9.14 update. This is the big one that has battle reports, defense update. We got a couple campaigns as well. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about, I guess, is the battle report, which, in my opinion, this is probably the entire best thing that came out of this update. Would you guys tend to agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. This has been very helpful for seeing stuff in the FM, seeing that, my FM fleet is taking an obnoxious amount of damage from one damage source, and maybe if dragon tokens ever show up, I can fix that.
Yeah, I would assume, just like everybody else, you're taking more explosive damage and almost no missile damage.
Yep.
Now, do we want to speculate a little bit on why that is? Let's go ahead and talk about the FM 120 targets. I mean, since that just got brought up, the 120, the 121s, and pretty much all of them. So here's the things I've noticed. Walls take freaking forever to kill now. I did notice, since all of our explosive reload stats got upgraded, pretty much any special that you had that had rocket reload or mortar reload has been buffed. I would imagine that is also true of the NPCs. So I think that's probably why we're seeing a lot more explosive damage as well.
I also think, I know we haven't quite gotten to it yet, but I also think it's due to the changes in the splash.
Yeah.
Now we can take 100% from a mortar round where we couldn't before.
Correct. And I think a lot of it, has to do with differences in batteries too, which we will cover later. Not all all your batteries that were equal before aren't equal anymore, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But as far as the battle report breakdown, I like it. It shows you what you're taking damage on, what you resisted, what you evaded. So I think it's pretty cool. I've already seen, for example, on my FM fleet where apparently I need to get some more explosive survivability on there, because that's definitely what's doing the most damage to me and the FM.
Yeah, this will make it much, much easier or much faster to tweak our fleets into sort of an optimum build. Whereas before we had to do a great deal of sort of like guesswork on it and just going by raw repair time and stuff. Now this is great.
So yeah, so anybody who's looking for a positive show, this is where you want to stop watching because it's all downhill after this, baby. Ross, did you have any input on the battle report?
No, I'm actually pleasantly pleased with I was not a big advocate for the battle report prior to this, and so even for me to be pleased is pretty good. It doesn't pop up on my screen unless I'm in battle view, which is what that's what I had a big issue with, and this is working correctly. I also don't notice any added issues, due to it, and so that's a big thing in my game is the added gameplay issues, and so this didn't cause any performance issues as far as I'm aware of, and I'm pleased.
Yeah, definitely well a long waited and a welcome addition for sure. Now let's get to the ugly, the Battle Pirate Survival Guide. We're gonna skip what, in my opinion, is spin and get down to the meat and bones of it. So defense is a thing of the past. You will not see defense percentages on your hulls anymore. You're still going to see them on road crews, and maybe some other weird areas. But as far as for a regular stat for your hulls, it's no longer. It's been replaced with something called survival. And so whereas you had explosive defense before, you're now going to have explosive survival. These are going to be flat numbers. So basically, these flat numbers will add up, and then they will give you what is your extended life against that kind of damage. So, say for example, you have a 2 million or 2 million hit point hull, and you give it 100% explosive survival. You have effectively made it a 4 million hit point hull against explosive damage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
but I don't know about,
I mean, at this point in time, the only thing I'm looking at is the number in the parentheses, because that's really the only part of this whole thing that makes any fucking sense to me.
Okay, so what is the number in the parentheses again?
That is how much longer you will survive against that particular damage type.
Longer than what?
Than what your base health is. So say, for example, that's what I was just saying. Say, for example, I have a 2 million hit point hull, okay? And my hull has 2 million hit points. Now, if that number behind explosive survival, for example, is plus 100%, that means against explosive, I can take 4 million points of explosive damage before my hull will die. Because 100% will double it. Got it?
Yeah.
And of course, 200% would triple it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
Yeah, it's messy because we're going from a percentage-based system into just a raw number system. So there's going to be a whole bunch of growing pains. At this point in time, generally, I'm just looking at, is it a bigger number?
Yeah, basically that's what you need to look at. I really don't understand the whole flat number thing, though. Where that even comes into play on the whole thing. I don't get that part of it.
Me either, honestly.
No idea. None.
That we're going to have to figure that out, as Kicksai's being coy. Let's go with coy about showing us exactly how this all works nicely. We're going to have to figure it out, a great deal of it, for ourselves.
Well, wait, Carl, I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about by 2 million equals what? 2 million equals the starting health of your hull. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, I thought.
No, I mean, yeah, I see.
If you last for 1 minute against explosive damage, and you get hit by, and you have without this explosive survival stat. If you, with this explosive survival stat, once you put it on at 48%, you would last for just under 90 seconds, 50% longer than you would normally. Does that kind of help?
That's clear. I mean,
okay. I know there's a delay in this chat. I don't want to take that up.
But all right. I'm not trying to be bothersome either, but who comes up with? I mean, what the heck's the 1368 about?
Right. There's the big question, which will come up all the way through here.
Yeah, nobody really knows
how they translated our resistance values, which was a percentage, into these raw numbers. So, and as we'll see, it'll be variable as we go along. I mean, just wait to the batteries.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand what Carl's talking about as far as how long is the initial value, because that's obviously what your survivability for your initial regular 200 hit point health is all going to depend on what you're hitting. So it's not like I can give you a set number for that, because different targets do different amount of damage to kill that 2 million hit points. So I'm not really sure. I'm really confused about what you're asking for. But anyway, I mean, I've explained it the way I know how to explain it. And Cuddles the way he's explained it the way he knows how to explain it. So that's really all we can offer at this point in time.
I fully admit it's new and messy, and we're trying we're really trying here. So as it becomes clearer and as we understand it better, we will of course be revisiting this many, many times.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we've had I guess like about a day and a half to look at it now, maybe. So I don't know.
Push on.
This is just showing how that number can go up and will increase your survivability, just like what we were discussing before. And this is no, it was on this slide. And here's where he says about the difference between 48% survival and 80% survival is pretty significant, but your difference between 248 and 287% is actually less significant. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, because everything I've seen, I'll make it real simple for you guys. Everything I've seen, everything everybody has said across the board, this number right here, this survival number, you want to make it as big as you can. At the end of the day, that's what you're looking at. You want to make this number as big as possible. So all that hype and all that spin about doing this is going to open up your builds more for you, in my opinion, total bunch of fucking crap. You're still going to, just like it was with defense, you're going to want to make that number as high as humanly possible.
Right. Another thing to note is this percentage that comes after it is based off of the whatever hull you put on its actual hit points. So if you put it on a hull which has like a Conqueror ship that has like, I don't know, what do they have now, like 68 million hit points on them or something like that?
The Conqueror hulls only have like 6 to 8 million, right?
I'm not gonna lie, right here, we're in the realm of out of fun. I'm not lying. I'm a math person, and this no longer keeps me engaged in fun in the game, or even care about the stats and this is just confusing. It's going to be hard for me to explain to others. I'm upset. Yeah, and I'm sitting down and I've given a full look. I've played at, and I'm not just counting anything. I think that this is a horrible mess.
I mean, I totally get the second half of it, the number in the parentheses. I totally understand that part. I might not be able to explain it well, but I totally understand it. The part I don't have any comprehension about is the 2430. It just seems like a weird arbitrary number to stick in there to me. It's like, honestly, we could probably get by with just the number in the parentheses.
Well, and if we don't understand, right, and so this isn't the easiest thing to understand.
No, it's not. It's a fucking mess. I mean, like I told them on Discord the other day, I was like, if the goal was to make this simpler and more easy to understand, you guys have failed utterly.
Okay, so basically, though, to keep the people knowing what they're doing and moving forward, You just want the highest numbers.
Yes, that's basically the simplest way to put it out there. You want the highest possible number there.
Yep.
Just like you wanted the highest possible defense.
Right.
Nothing has changed except for we're using different numbers now.
Right.
You have not gotten any flexibility in your builds, in my opinion. Like that was, in my opinion, that was a total lie on their part. They said they were going to open it up to be more flexible with this system. I don't think that's true. You guys can dispute that with me if you would like.
Oh, it's penalized me. I mean, their little one special spiel about one special off and you'll be okay. Well, my little one special off is kicking my ass on a couple of my fleets. We'll talk about that coming forward, but yeah, I agree.
I have lots of, I know my fleets are not working as well, and I suspect I have lots of refit to do, and I'm not even sure on a lot of them what to do. So, messy.
Let's talk about the one that's really fucking everybody up right now. Splash damage reduction. So the way basically it used to be was splash damage reduction would give you that damage reduction regardless of whether you got hit directly, regardless if you were over here in the area of splash, or regardless if you were on the far outskirts of splash. You would get your full splash damage reduction. That's not the case anymore. Now, if you get hit on by a projectile, your splash damage reduction will not help at all. And say, for example, you have Hyper 30 on, which is giving you 30% splash damage reduction. You will only get the full 30% if you're out here on the very outside perimeter of the splash. If you're like in the middle, it'll be like 15%. If you're in kind of here somewhere, it'll be like 8%. Does that make sense to everybody?
It's like in that circle shown on the picture, the red, it would be where you'd be getting hit. I mean, it's just, you know.
Yeah, where it's the red is where your splash damage reduction is going to be the shittiest, and out at the white is where your splash damage reduction is going to be the best.
Yes.
Right. At the very edge where the chances are a deflection will be able to totally soak the damage at the edge of the splash anyway. It's where we don't need the splash damage reduction. So this is going to produce spiky damage.
In simple terms, if you're an auto player and you have Hyper 30 on your fleets, get it the fuck off of there. If you're a driver and you do breeze buys on targets, it will still come in handy for you.
Yep.
That's the dumbed down version of it.
On the scattergun breacher, when it comes to a complete stop and it gets its bonuses, doesn't it get like minus 99% spread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that means it would be hitting, you know, right where it aims, which would be the center of that point, almost every single time. So scattergun breachers should be ripping apart any ships with Hyper 30 on, because it would just negate it. Right?
Yeah. And yes, chat, you're absolutely right. We're going to have tons of refits to have to do. I can think of at least 3 fleets that I need to rip Hyper 30 off and put something better on them.
Now, to be fair, there are still, I mean, Hyper 30 does bring other benefits, such as the 30% speed and 30% projectile, but we can ignore that. The 30% speed is also very nice and can also get you out of, if you're driving it, it will get you out of that ring much faster. So,
yeah, it will still come for drivers. It will still come in handy for people who are using it for auto. It's absolute fucking garbage now.
Or base defense. Or base defense. That's
base defense too probably is absolute garbage.
Oh God.
So, Hyper 30 was almost like every ship that came along, one of the questions was, should I put Hyper 30 on it? And the answer is always, well, yes.
Room, right? If
you can.
Yeah, I mean, this change is actually probably, while it's, in my opinion, easier to understand, it is much more hurtful to the game's health where it's at right now. Everybody had built around the way Splash was, and now you totally changed Splash to where everybody's builds absolutely fucking suck now.
And I agree that, but it's not that I think this is the actual correct way Splash should work. This, to me, really is.
Yeah, logically, it makes total sense to me. I agree.
So I can follow it. I'm not having no problems understanding it, all that stuff. And it makes logical sense on how Splash would work in real life scenario. Just not what my fleet's built to. So yeah, right.
Yeah, the big problem is for the past umpteen years, we haven't had a logical scenario, so everybody's fleets are built towards the way it was. So that involves lots of refits.
Yeah.
Which I've been lobbying with Osprey today on Discord about, I told him, I was like, dude, this is basically a PvE refactor. You gave us all kinds of tokens for the PvP refactor. I can't believe that you released this shit without some kind of comprehensive token package along with it.
Oh, he gave us a 24-hour repair token.
Well, what do you fucking do?
I know.
What have to do with my refits?
Okay, but this one, at least Splash is not hard to understand, and I hope, and I don't have a hard time explaining this one either. So it does make logical sense. I wish they would have done it from the beginning if it was going to be implemented. Or we always or toss me some tokens. There's a workaround. Toss me some tokens.
There's another half of this. When we were told that about this refractor coming out, this update, one of the things they spoke about like a month ago was they were also going to normalize splash damage, so that splash damage would do a set amount from the center point all the way out. And normalize that across all of the splash weapons. I think it was supposed to be like 100% at the center point and 50% at the outer ring or something like that. But that wasn't in here, was it? Just the splash damage reduction part.
Yeah, my understanding, and I could be wrong, but I think what they did do is splash is actually like even across the whole thing. It's your percentage from your special that gets varied throughout the thing. Does that make sense?
It does, but they should have, given us an explanation, because now we know how splash damage reduction works, and there is some confusion as to how splash works.
Right.
So it's not like only knowing half the equation.
Well, I mean, but that's what they're great at, that. And I thought there was supposed to be less obfuscation, but it seems like we're getting just as much, if not more.
But this is easier this makes kind of more sense in the practical real world scenario than even how Splash is working in the game now. Because a grenade doesn't go, blow the next room over off.
Right, but I would also like it to be normalized across all the weapon types.
Yeah, I agree.
There are some weapons out there that degrade to nothing at the edge, and some weapons that do maximum at the edge.
Yeah.
This all makes my fucking head hurt. It really does.
There's a rogue, rogue crews that do some.
No, well, yeah, talking about road crews, let's talk about how road crews still add percentages instead of survival values. Well, that's kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah. Well, I knew that. I mean,
so now I guess we get survival and defense if we're using road crews?
And maybe even alliance points for alliance bonuses. How about that?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This is such a clusterfuck.
The crews have been needed to be looked at for so long anymore. I'm not even sure it's worth even talking about anymore. They've just been
Hey, but to make you all happy, they're working hard to ensure that you don't experience any significant differences to your immediate experience. I'm sorry. Yeah. So. Oh no. So yeah, but now my eradicators have 30 million hit points now. Ain't that great?
And I'm glad they moved that Stingray from skirmish to siege because that was bothering me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, this is just PR talk of them saying they're monitoring it and we'll be tweaking things as we go along, so things will change.
Yep.
Standard boilerplate. Neat.
These changes will have a long-term positive effect on Battle Pirates experience. Well, I'm wondering how many of us will be around to see it. Because I'll tell you, world chat in my world, totally fucking dead all day. Maybe they need to institute global chat, so maybe at least 10 or 15 people will be talking. I mean, like, how much activity have you guys seen in the game today?
No, I'm on all the time, and it's real. It's gone slowed down, and I'm not playing. I just watch. I mean, I've tested quite a few things, but mine is still in repair. Like, yeah.
I leapt out of my sector because a bunch of locust guilds came in and were just terrorizing everybody, and we just both in chat and everything, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So, warp out before the raid. So
I'm still there. Some of them have left.
Oh yeah, they're locusts. They just waft in, muck in a sector, and waft out.
So, but hey, the one bright side to this, they've temporarily removed the refit tax. The 20% time you have to pay for when you take something off to put something new on. Well, you don't have to pay that anymore. So there you go.
Well, at least
that thing that should never be there in the first fucking place, they're not having for a week. Ain't that great?
Right.
At least we now have a clean. At least we now know what the refit tax was. I thought it was 25%, actually.
I actually thought it was 10%. So,
see, at least we have a hard number now. And yeah, that should have been gone. That shouldn't be in here, anyways.
Yeah. So, like we said earlier, the half repair time, they're going to do a total of 72 hours. They added an extra day. There's a big one. Stat doubling. All your damage stats and all those kind of stats have always been doubled in the game because some kind of way that it actually would translate into from the actual raw data into the display data. There was a bug there. This is actually the fourth time that they've tried to get rid of this doubling thing, and every time they've tried to do it before, players got so up in arms about it being nerfed that they reverted it. But nothing has changed. Even though your thing might have said it did 2 million damage, and now it's only showing 1 million damage. It's doing the exact same amount of damage. Nothing has changed. Those of us who were really familiar with the BP math knew that's the way it was, and we had tried to explain it to other people in the past. I don't know how many got that information, but yeah, they've just fixed that display thing. Nothing has actually changed as far as the amount of damage that you're pumping out.
And as for it being an early bug, no, that it sounds like a game design decision at the very beginning, because it's much better if the player's weapon does 50 points of damage rather than 25 points of damage. It makes your ships look more impressive, even if it's all fluff and mummery.
No, I honestly, I legit think this one was a bug because they've tried to, like I said, it took them a long time to figure out what was going on, and then every time they tried to change it to the way it should be, people would freak out.
Like in their turret, you mean?
Everywhere. Every damage number you've ever seen in this game for the last years were doubled.
Then they must use Common Core math, because the numbers I have right now, if I double them, they don't match anything I had before. So where did they get this doubling thing from?
Well, what are you talking about right now? Are you talking about base turrets?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a whole different ball of wax, because not only did their display number get cut in half, but then also a lot of PvP weapons got tweaked because all the changes with splash and everything. So a lot of those damage numbers got adjusted. They just didn't bother to tell anybody.
And there's some.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That I just no more stat doubling. They did more than that.
And there's some questions on the turrets as to whether or not all the specials are working correctly.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, this has been one just major fucking stupid clusterfuck from the get-go, and they need to roll it back, in my opinion. I mean, literally, my name on Discord right now is roll it back.
Well, I mean, it's not really, I guess it's my pastime, but I'm not refitting every fleet I have. I'm not even a PvE fan at all. I play PvE to do PvP. Now, if I have to redo all my PvE fleets that I don't like to do, I'll scrap them. No lie, scrap them. If you don't give me tokens, I'll scrap them. So that's how you'll get it.
So since we're on the topic of refits, let's talk about all the batteries that were the same once upon a time, but now they're all different. Assault battery, corrosive battery, siege battery, conquest battery, all at one point in time gave you 50% turret defense. It was pretty easy to understand. They're not all standardized anymore. Now, when you look at these survivability numbers, as you can see, the assault battery and the assault battery is way low at only 900 survivability. So you're actually getting less turret defense from that than you are from the siege battery. And the siege battery is giving you significantly amount less than the new ones that we just got, like the corrosive battery. As you can see, that's 1800, where the siege battery is only 1100. And then conquest battery, yeah, if you have anything other than conquest battery on your conquerors and defenders, yeah, you need to change that out. As you can see, that's 6400 right there.
It's a big difference. I mean, it really is. So that's huge. If you have a Conqueror with siege battery on it, it really, well, we'll talk about that. But yeah, you're right. It needs conquest battery. So.
And the siege battery 4, that actually started at 900 turret defense. The only reason it's at that odd number of 1,114 is because you are at R15.
Right. So I don't know if that got overlooked on the assault and the garrison batteries, or if it was intentional.
Then if you look, the resonance capacitor, that also gives 900. And if you look at any of the older siege batteries, 3, 2, and 1, which also gave 50% turret defense, you'll see their numbers decrease really drastically below 900. So there's no more scaling down in tech. You need to be equipping the latest and greatest tech.
Yes, especially when you consider that, diminishing returns thing of like these things not being near as effective when you put them on newer hulls.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is actually probably one of the things that bothers me the most right now, because these are all standardized 50% across the board before this update, and now they have varying values all over the fucking place. Like all the people who put assault battery on their assault ships because it made sense, now in order to get a better survivability have to totally refit.
Right. And
before we've even gone into the first event.
And during the event when we could get the corrosive battery or the penetrating battery, the turret defense was listed as 50%. So if you just cover up these 900 and the 1800 numbers, the actual corrosive battery isn't that much better than the assault battery. 5% more damage, 5% more building and wall. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So
but now that we know all this, now we know, hey, this is actually twice as good as what this one was.
Right. So a lot of people didn't buy the batteries because the assault battery covered everything, and you know, you don't have to spend, what were they, 10,000 points each during the pillage event? You don't have to grind up 50,000 points. You just get the assault battery, and poof, all your ships are taken care of. And that turret defense is half as good.
Yeah.
Brutal.
This one truly bothers me a lot.
That will be a rough thing in, well, I can't wait to see the differences between those during the raid.
Yeah.
And seeing, you know, any rate.
Something else when I was poking around that I noticed on like your breachers. Breachers, if I recall, used to have a 45% base turret defense, correct?
Correct.
And siege battery was 50%, correct? Well, now apparently, whether you have a breacher with no siege battery on it or a breacher with a siege battery 4 on it, it gives you the exact same amount of turret defense. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Does it change if you put the Conquest battery on there?
Yes, it does change if you put the Conquest battery on there.
Cool. All right. Well,
my assumption is the breacher now has the 5236 is the built-in one, and when you put something like siege battery on, it will just take the higher of the two values and not add them together. Because when I put Conquest battery on, it was 6400.
Okay, yeah, so it is using the top one.
Yeah, because when I first put Conquest battery on, I was expecting it to stack and see something crazy number like 11,000 or whatever, but no, it was only the 6400. So since this comes with a built-in 5326 or whatever that number is, it's going to overwrite the 1114 that's on the siege battery 4. But you're still going to get the bonus damage to walls and buildings and stuff that's on siege battery. It's just you're not going to get any turret defense from siege battery.
This battery change is probably giving me the most amount of refit.
Yeah. I'm very unhappy about the battery part of it. And I've expressed that unhappiness to Kixeye.
As a quick question.
Yes.
Has anyone tried putting any of the batteries on any other ships? Like, I have corrosive batteries lying around. Has anyone tried putting them on, say, Manticores?
No.
Seeing if you survive long.
I've been so busy trying to wrap my head around so much other stuff and getting ready to get rid of the house that I'm currently living in that my time has been kind of pressed.
I don't have any shipyard time.
Yeah, I know. Fair enough. Okay.
I mean, I would like to. This was the time where I would like to really be checking this out, even in the half repair or whatever, so I could be swapping some things to maybe possibly get something to work for me. But I don't have an available shipyard, and you know, in all honesty, I'm really not really in the point where I'm overly thrilled at and going to be throwing cash at changing things at this point. You know what I mean? This isn't. I'm not jumping hooray at this. So I'm not gonna be jumping in refitting. I don't know. I'm upset. I'm saddened. It just doesn't. It's going to hinder my game a great deal. It will slow it down. Because I'm not I don't have the time, I guess, to refit right now. I don't see it coming, so I'll just have to deal with the higher repair and PVE. I'll just slow repair, I guess. I mean, I don't see a benefit to me, the player, in this at all.
Moving forward, we got new armor in the FM this week. So, hey, that's something for everybody to spend their money on, to try to cram armor on all your Nemesis or Saturns in the last couple days before the raid. Congratulations bringing this out the week before the raid, as opposed to like bringing it out like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
One day.
You knew you were going to bring it out. You knew we were going to need it. Wait till the last fucking minute.
Again, 1 day, 9 hours per plate. What the?
Yes.
And here's another incentive they're giving us to spend money. Because if you have put any other armor on your ships at this point in time, and you want to refit to this new armor, this is the best time to do it, as you're not going to pay that 20% tax to yank it off.
That's true.
How messy can it get?
All right, let's talk about some TLCs. Ross, you do Agent of Downfall.
All right, we got Agent.
I know. Wait. Actually, we will let Cuddle do Agent of Downfall. He's the Nemesis guy.
That's right. Let the Nemesis guy X take this. All right. Us Nemesis X guys got lucky, because originally this was only supposed to be the Saturn. The people who got the Saturn could do this, but they changed it at the last minute so that now everybody can do this.
Yes, and I would like to say you're welcome for that, because one of the first things I told them on Discord when I saw this, I'm like, oh, so I can't get the tokens for the hull that I claimed. I guess I won't be doing any TLC then, because I'm not going to do the one for the hull I didn't claim, because I don't plan on building it. And like a couple hours later, they were like, hey, we've opened this up to everybody now.
Yes, thank you very much. In the first prize pack, we actually have the hull of the Nemesis X. And even for you Saturn people, I do recommend you do the prize, get the Nemesis X here, so it is not used against you like a lock in the raids. Prize pack 2 is the Prometheus missile system. That's a good special. And 2 10,000 VXP Nemesis tokens. Prize pack 3 is the missile, and we finally start getting tokens. 1 day of Nemesis build tokens and 3 10K VXP tokens. And the mastery round, which we can do 3 times, has 2 days of tokens in it and 3 10K VXP tokens.
Cool.
I can.
We'll let Ross do the Saturn one real quick, and then we can talk about damage and all that kind of stuff, because they're exactly the same campaign. So, Ross, you want to cover this one real quick, and then we'll talk damage-wise?
And this one, it's the Ring of Time, so it's for your Saturn owners out there, and that's included myself. And that started also on Wednesday, the 3rd. And it's going to run a week until the 10th at noon. And it's for just like I was saying, all the Saturn owners. So, prize pack 1, you're going to pick up the Saturn hull itself. Prize pack 2 is the high volatility cartridges, and 2 of ranking tokens. In prize pack 3, you're going to pick up the Calypso scatter gun, 1 day Saturn build token, and the ranking tokens times 3, and that's 10,000 ranking tokens. And on to the mastery prizes, where you're going to pick up 2 1 day build tokens, and then 3 more 10,000 ranking tokens. So it's just going to match the campaign we just talked about.
All right. So do we want to talk about the damage?
Well, first of all, prize pack 1 is 4 stages long. Prize pack 2 is 6 stages long. Prize pack 3 is 7 stages long. And the mastery is 7 stages long. This is not easy.
Yeah, this one.
Can I be frank with you guys for a minute?
Yeah, there you go.
You can straight up
Well,
suck my fucking dick as far as damage on this motherfucker. That's what I gotta say. The damage on this thing is fucking crazy, man. Okay.
yes. No, it is. I've tried it with I used a demo squad and a bit of coin, and I burned through it. I know I feel bad for it, but the Nemesis tokens were there, and it wasn't. We're on half repair, so it wasn't terrible. But yes, the damage on these things, if we weren't at half repair, there's no way I would grind through these.
I'm not grinding through them. There's no way.
I know several people who have had to repair their entire fleet multiple times to get through this.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Now, Ross, you came up with something interesting, and you're talking with people and whatnot. So, you want to share that a little bit?
There's people that are having good luck, you know, and they're drivers in this thing. I'm an autoer, and I just let my thing, you know, just auto into these because I'm just not a fan. But there's people that are driving, and they're able to knock the repair way down, because I've been complaining huge about, you know, I won't do it, and I won't do it. But yeah, they have different builds, and they are able to drive skillfully and reduce the repair drastically, a great deal. So it's possible. I'm hearing reports.
So the issue, if I'm not mistaken, seems to be lowered cannon mount, which was so fucking wonderful before all this disaster of an update, is now the fucking shits.
Well, it's hindering me, and it's definitely hurting me in the weekly fleet also. So yeah, I would say it's carrying over to this fleet also. I'm an auto guy, so I do have those fleets that are just designed to take massive damage and just go head on. And those aren't really the builds anymore, or that special that I used, Hyper 30, for that no longer takes those head-on shots. Correct. I mean, that's what's different right now.
Yeah. Like, and that's where it comes to, like we were saying earlier, Hyper 30 for auto is just terrible. Now he has Hyper 30 on his build along with the longer range. That's probably serving him well because he can outrun most of that splash damage.
And you run one ship in front of it, in front of the rest of your fleet, to sort of catch the flamethrower, as it were. And then the rest of the fleet comes up behind it and mows down the turret.
Yeah, but pre-man semper, yeah, you're having strike on lower cannon mount 2 on strike is way different because it doesn't affect your range at all like it does for the eradicator users. It cuts ballistic range in half, but it doesn't affect strike launcher range at all.
I just don't like the lowered cannon mount, the lowered mount series at all.
I have lower cannon mount 2 on my strikes for the extra bonus to defense, and it doesn't my range. So there's really no downside to it on them.
Right. Then that's
other than the speed decrease, and when they're surface, they go like turtles anyway. So what difference does it make?
True. I had lowered explosive mount at one point in time on. It's either my dragons or my icebreakers, and something happened. It stopped working. So I'm just really hesitant about the lowered mounts.
Yeah, I have it on two of my working. Well, I mean, I have it on 2 working fleets. So I'm in trouble on the lowered mounts and the Hyper 30. For my gameplay, not for everybody's, and not saying it doesn't work, but for my style, as I'm not, I like to be able to not be on active, 100% engaged, and while doing other things.
So yeah, for me, damage on this TLC is just like I said, through the fucking roof. ridiculous through the roof. And for me, I'm sure it's all about the whole splash thing. Really, that's where most of it comes into play. Then we got the I can't even talk. Scorpion Sting Elite campaign, Cuddle.
All right, Manticore stuff. All right, Scorpion Sting Elite campaign. This gets us Manticore stuff. There is one good special in here. The first prize pack, you can get the missile. I believe this is the one that just adds 3% corrosive resistance, not the speed one. And one 9,500 VXP Manticore token. Prize pack 2, you get Strike System 5, which is one of the fastest engines in the game. 2 of the 9,500 VXP tokens, and 1-day Manticore build token. Prize pack 3, you get the Scorpion CIC. I don't remember what that's got to be the missile one, right?
I do believe so, yes.
All right, and 3 of the 9,500 VXP tokens, 2 days of build tokens, and the Mastery Prize, which you can do 3 times, gets you 3 of the tokens, the VXP tokens, and 3 of the build tokens, and the cool Nightmare Manticore skin. I am totally skipping this.
I like the skin, but I'm not doing it myself. But I like the skin.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not going backwards.
I can't even tell you what hull to use for this. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. You use
the
fires or phoenixes.
All right.
Oh,
and we got the Lion main ones, which is basically the exact same as the other one, only you get all the scattergun version shit in this one.
The Roaring Barrel system is quite good in Prize Pack 2. If you don't have that, that would be worth doing just to get to that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah.
Bug fixes. So here's things they say they fixed. Countermeasures not working in the FM 120. Katie's drones not behaving as intended. Should be attacking targets, but instead they were hovering around the hull. The Breacher Dreadnoughts did not fire and lose their weapon range circle. Component retrofit benefits not being visually applied to the UI. Eruption Pyre shows negative stat at rank 15. Wall collision interactions now match visuals. Walls were incorrectly implemented, so the damage they took was random. Now they will take the correct amount of damage, leading to slightly softer walls in many cases. Chest tokens claim amount starts as low or unowned until points are earned. Siren Road Crew had incorrect text. Upgrading level 5 resource buildings with less than necessary amount of base parts caused an SOS, and other general bug fixes and performance improvements. So, aren't we saying that like half of these things they said they fixed aren't really fixed?
Well, the Eruption Pyre is still definitely broken.
I've seen reports of people still saying that their countermeasures are not working in the FM 120s.
Correct.
The FM tokens claim amount start is low or unowned. That's still happening. That happened to one of my ally mates today. So.
Right.
Walls are definitely not softer in the places where they were supposed to get softer, such as the FM 120.
They're way 3 times harder.
And I feel bad for the one person who's level 5 resource building with base parts gave him an SOS. I mean, how many of those people can there be?
Yeah, I don't know.
That Eruption Pyre bothers me. I have 14 of them in my base. So that bothers me quite a lot.
So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there now in the chat. If you have anything that you want us to cover that we haven't covered, or something you would like us to try to explain a little bit better than we explained, go ahead and start putting it in chat now while we do a little bit of last minute housekeeping on our part and talk about anything that we haven't covered yet that we want to talk about. Ross, we'll start with you.
I'm just, I'm having a hard time. I actually am understanding all these changes myself, other than that one magic number in front of some parentheses, but I'll get my head around it. I don't agree with the things, but I'm not like overwhelmingly freaking out mad about them or anything like that. And I know I say I'll scrap things if they don't work. Well, I might, and I'm not saying I might, I won't, I might. But I'm not like pissed off about it. I'm just saying I hope that they look at what's going on here and throw us some tokens. If this is going to go through, and if I'm not alone, I'm certainly not alone, and everybody else has got to be. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people out there have got to be feeling the same as me. That I was feeling the pinch and feeling like. Overwhelmingly, I've been swamped with these game, and now you really want me to go all in, and redo every fleet I have because of this new system. I'm just I'm actually just disappointed at this point. So I'm not a child and like temper tantrum person, but I'm just a disappointed customer. This isn't what I've asked for, and clearly I've never asked for. The things I've asked for are very clear, and all the time. Lower repair, less chores, shorter build time. That's never changed. And how you come up with this voodoo out of that is scary to me, because I have those. I am half the interactions that I have with the game team, and if your take away from my interaction is that I want this, then we have a communication problem, and we need to set that up again. That's my feeling.
All right.
Cuddle?
I've got two, but they're both around the same theme, and that is chores. First, I'd like to say that my Nemesis X, even without armor, does a 95 Draconian convoy very nicely. And so that is the end of my titanium problems. Not that I had titanium problems, but other members of my alliance will now, none of them should have any titanium problems. Because even one of them without armor can do a 95 Draconian convoy very nicely.
Oh, really? That's not, even without armor.
Even without armor. You're going to take some damage, of course, but it's still one on auto.
Right. That's good.
So,
it's cool that your titanium problem is fixed. Now you just have a uranium problem since, the SSRPs do like 4 times damage is what they used to.
Stop stealing my thunder. Yes. So the next part is my poor bat rays going into the subsector cores and are getting, used to do them for like 15 minutes of damage, 20 minutes of damage on a bad day.
Right.
Now I'm taking well over an hour of damage, and that's on half repair. Ouch. So now I have a new problem. Your turn, Dan.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I can say that I haven't already said like 500 times. This is bad. It was a bad idea from the start. I will freely admit that something needed to be done as far as the defense stuff, but there's so much simpler ways you could have done it. You could have dialed back the damage in the targets and put a defense cap into play. That way you wouldn't have ever had to worry about the 99.7% numbers. And people say, well, that would stop escalation and progression. escalation isn't necessarily about bigger fucking numbers. Escalation is more about interaction with the targets and what you're doing while you're hitting them. You know, I mean, sometimes, yes, numbers will go up sometimes, but they don't have to go up by the leaps and bounds that you guys make them go up by all the fucking time. You know, I mean, let's look at the scatter gun for the Manicore, for example, did what, 10,000 damage, I think, and now our new scattered gun does 54,000 damage. Why in the fuck did you have to like jump it up by 5 times? You know, like you created almost all of these problems. I don't know. And as far as the whole new defenses, I don't know. Like, I want some of whatever you're fucking smoking that you think this is a good idea. You know, it might be a great idea in your little California liberal smoking all kinds of fucking crazy reefer world. But for the bad people who actually play the fucking game on an everyday basis, it's fucking stupid. And that's all I got to say about it. Roll it back. And I think that's all I got. So there you go.
To the minute.
I was going to say, I don't really see a whole lot of stuff in chat. Somebody did say take bets on how much longer the game will last. I'm not even going to go into that.
No. And I'm okay here. And I've been slamming the game on the comms and on the Discord and as the upset, disgruntled customer, in all honesty, right? But not like that. Let's not go there. This is where you and I, everybody here, we're here together, as this is where we do for fun. We want to keep this alive. I want to promote this. I want to promote this in my own wanting, right? I get nothing from this game company, and I get no special favors of any type. And I'm here just like everyone else, and I want to be here, and I want the game to be better and better and better. So I'm for positivity when there is the possibility of positivity. And I just am not trying to be overwhelmingly negative. So I didn't want to end the whole thing on a total negative note. It's not what we want. And I'm all for Battle Pirates. No kidding. This is my game. I love it. And so, yeah, I hope they do something.
And you know, like at the end of the day, I don't try to be overly negative either. I'm overly honest is my problem. That's my biggest problem. And in real life too, I have that problem. I'm overly honest and I tell people exactly what I think. And some people can't handle that.
Headache does mention the fact that the VXP tokens only stack to 5 for both the Nemesis and the Saturn. So be careful about that.
Good call. Good call. I'm checking something real quick in game. Hang on.
I was actually able to get that lead out in time to get the extra 5 tokens to put it back on, you know.
And yeah, Simon, you're right. The scatter gun does only do 27k damage now. I was referring to the numbers that were before they did the upgrade. The update, rather, when it was showing 54k. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say go boycott the game, Carl, but if people want to, I'm not going to tell them no. But I'm not going to like try to organize like a boycott or anything, because I don't think that's right. It's up to each individual person to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, no running off and burning Nike outfits.
Right. No,
All
but
right.
we're in support of this, and as players, this is our fun. So that's yeah, positive.
I'm positive this update's bad. How about that?
No, but we can be okay with that, and we can say that in a positive fashion, though. You know what I mean? Because we're just not name calling and that kind of stuff, and we don't have to be like totally crazy.
All right.
And I'm hoping these are just growing pains.
Hey,
We'll move through it.
We were positive about the battle report.
Right. No, and heck yeah, and some of the campaign maybe.
I wasn't that positive about the campaigns. Maybe you were.
I mean,
positive they do a lot of damage.
They do.
All right, we're just rambling on now, so I'm calling it. As always, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, shame on you. And make sure you send your friends to the page where we can keep them updated on what's going on in the game. We will talk to you Saturday. We'll have some additional faces on here talking about all the changes that are going on. So it'll be interesting to see what some other people have to say. But until then, we're out. Take it easy, guys. And I'll put the link here in the chat for a little bit for anybody who wants to jump on for an after show.
Have a good night, everyone.